Cool. So remember, we just need a little towel so that way we can get into our shoulders. Okay. But effectively, we're going to start on our feet first, and we'll start kind of with just a nice, simple joint rotation. So we have been doing a lot of spinal breath type of work. Okay. So we're going to just park that up for today. We're going to just kind of start with, headquarters and make our way down. So starting with the head, we were doing some gliding work yesterday. Today, we're just going to go into nice and simple rotations. Okay. So we're just going to have that chin onto the chest. From there, we're going to take that chin to the armpit, over the shoulders. Important, we look back behind us, and then we create the circle. Okay, arrive at the back, and then just repeat that process. So again, as always, take it slow so you can really try to explore every nook and cranny. Okay, keep it going. Let's get my timer on so I can keep track of time. Okay, so we're just going in one direction at the moment. You should feel things through, the whole neck. So as you look up and back, everything through the front of your neck. As you look to the side and down, okay, to the back of the neck. So just controlled. From here, we're going to go the opposite direction. This is all very, very straightforward, simple, but taking this as an opportunity to explore, areas that you normally don't go into. So just slow it down so that allows you to actually be in control of where you're going. One last one. Boom. Okay. And if we're good, guys, okay, we're going to just go into our shoulders a little bit. And again, shoulders, we're going to keep things very, very simple. What I would suggest is kind of just, using your fingers and lightly touching your thighs. That way we know we're not just swinging forwards and backwards. And we're just going to look at the shoulder girdle, okay? The shoulder girdle is, this whole thing around here, okay? So effectively what we're going to do is 4 things, okay? So we're going to hit 4 landmarks, which is going to be the most basic one, up, that elevation. We're going to then go forwards into that protraction. Now, this forward is about spreading the shoulder blades. So think about like, your shoulder blades are giving you a massive hug. Okay. Now, from there, the third one is going to be depression. So meaning they're going to come down to the ground as much as possible. And then the last one, retraction, which is basically squeezing the shoulder blades together. So we're going to just connect those 4 landmarks. We've got the up elevation, forward protraction, down depression, back retraction. And just again, smooth circular motion. No need to set PBs, right? So if you have to kind of sort of pause at a certain point because you're trying to get as high as possible, for instance, okay, then that's a little bit redundant to start off with. Okay, just start small, notice what the shoulder blades can or can't do initially. And then, as you get a little more comfortable, then you can start to increase that range, but that circular motion remains the same, right? So same smoothness. And at the moment, we're just going one direction, okay? The fingers are still lightly touching the thighs because we just want to make sure, the whole shoulder blade is in the thing, okay? It's able to glide on top of that rib cage in different ways. Okay, let's reverse our circle. Okay, so we're going to come forwards, up, a retraction, which is back, then down. And again, it sort of kind of helps to have your eyes fixed in one place sometimes. Okay, that way kind of, you're not moving the spine per se, you're just, focusing on moving that shoulder. Really focus on that down depression bit, okay, from that retraction. Okay, and rest it up. Now, from here, all we're going to do is very, very simple. We're going to just kind of go and move the rest of the spine. But in order to do that, guys, what we're going to do here is we're going to keep the knees slightly bent, so slightly soft. And you can have the legs, roughly give or take under the hips, maybe even a little bit wider, okay? But the objective here is not to move from our legs, okay, anymore, okay? And we're going to try block the lower back. And the lower back, kind of, let's say, kind of in the top of your hip to about the bottom of your ribs, okay? So that's the area that we want to try not move. Everything above is gain. So what I want to see happen here is we're going to just tuck the chin onto the chest and we're going to just round the upper back as much as possible. So imagine, okay, someone's punching you, not in the stomach, but in the chest up high. And then slowly extend that bit, poke the chest forward, maybe even lift the chest up to the ceiling. Just nice and simple. So almost think about, drawing that belly button back towards the spine as I tuck my chin into the chest and just looking to round and move the upper and mid back. This is very, very similar to that spinal breath that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Trying to marry the breath. So I like to breathe in as I come around, make myself small. And breathing out as I come up and back. Okay, so you want to effectively keep rounding as much as possible. I like to slide my hands down my thighs. That way I have something tangible that I can aim towards. Okay, I'm not trying to set a PB, but if I am making progress, then slowly I'm gradually reaching a little bit further and further. One last one. All right, so from here, just giving that body a little bit of a rest, okay? We're gonna go into the hips. And hips, if you remember from yesterday, we were doing a little bit of a glide. And just as a reminder, what we did yesterday was we kept everything upstairs the same, and the hips were just kind of gliding side to side. Now what we're gonna do here, guys, is we're gonna actually have our legs quite wide, okay? And we're gonna, again, place our hands onto the hips, and we're just gonna go into nice old school hip circles, okay? And as always, start small and start to kind of make that circle a little bit bigger every circle, right? So if I say to you, okay, we're going to start with the smallest circle you can create, right? So, it could be just, obviously going in one direction, okay? We're going to start just with the smallest circle, and we're just going to look to add to that circle in the next rep. And again, add to that rep in the next, add a little bit bigger, okay, to the next rep. So just gradually, slowly, okay, just kind of making that circle bigger and bigger. Now, as you do this, obviously the legs are firm, okay, and they're locked out. You're going to make sure the hands that are on the hips, you can start to actually push into your hips, okay? So if you go into this right corner, the left hand is pushing into the hip, just so you kind of have the upper body organized a little bit as well, okay? And you'll obviously see that as the circle gets bigger, you will have to get the spine to move slightly differently as well, right? So you have to use the spine to counterbalance, okay, the circles. Again, nothing is in the lower back, but you should be slowly and gradually adding to the circles. Both legs are straight all the times. Okay, and I like to have my toes facing forward as well. Okay, so essentially I'm very, very firm through my legs. So that way I can really focus on just that hip. okay, in the middle. As my circles are getting bigger and bigger, you know, it's not actually fast. I have to go a little bit slow just to make sure that I am on that outer circumference, okay? Okay, let's go to the other side. So again, we're going to start small, okay, the smallest circle that you can create, and then keep adding to that circle. So obviously in the initial stages, this should be pretty straightforward, simple. Okay, and obviously you're getting bigger and bigger. I called it old school hip circles because I remember doing this in my school. I don't know if you guys had we used to call it PT. I think it's physical therapy. Okay, again, pushing those hips side to side, forwards and backwards as well, obviously. Okay, and trying to make that big circle. So this should be the largest circle that you can create. And again, the pace may be a little bit slower. Okay, just to make sure that you are hitting those corners, okay, nice and evenly. Obviously, your spine is helping the hips out. Okay, your feet are nice and firm throughout. Last two. And a rest. Okay, so from here, we're going to go straight into our feet first and make our way up the hip, okay? So nice and straightforward. Something that we've been doing, okay, has been this kind of side-to-side ankle work. So prepping our ankles quite a lot recently. We're going to continue with that theme, but before we go there, just very basic, hands on hip again. We'll just, today, rather than having a toe straight in front of us, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the knees up a little bit, okay? So effectively we're bending at the knees rather than the knees locked out. And we're going to go into that ankle circle, okay? So imagine that big toe being a pen, and you're going to draw as much of a big circle as possible from the big toes, obviously going in one direction. So let's just try that first initially. The knees are bent today. And sometimes it helps to kind of just look at the knees just to make sure that, you know, you're not starting to kind of move at the knees, but rather just keeping everything honest at the ankles. Let's go the other direction. Okay, and you know, one side will feel a little more coordinated than the other, which is all good. You may get a lot of cracking and popping as well, which is all good as well. Okay, nothing to worry about there. Nice and simple. The standing leg is obviously working a little bit hard to keep your whole structures nice and solid. So you may get a little bit of burning sensation, which is, again, that's not bad. Okay, let's go straight to the other side. Same thing. We'll bend the knees. Okay, toes, one way, nice big circles. And then change directions. Okay, we'll come back to the original side. This time, guys, we're bending at the knees, but this time what's happening is rather than the ankles, we're going to try, okay, move at the knees. Now, again, from side view, okay, look at the thigh bone, it's parallel to the ground, and we're just gonna work everything underneath it. Now, yes, the hips are gonna kind of move a little bit, but effectively we're trying to move at the knee joint, okay? So yes, knee is a hinge joint. There's a little bit of a rotation capacity there. You know, we're not really kind of rotating, but just kind of see if we can just create a nice little circle, okay? Just kind of easy, nothing too crazy. Going one way, and then let's go the other way. Again, one side will feel a little bit more coordinated, more balanced. then the other. Okay, change it, nice and simple. Okay, in one direction. Now again, this doesn't mean kind of go as fast as possible. You know, imagine the lower leg is relaxed a little bit. Okay, I don't know why I have got my T-Rex arms out. Okay, change directions. And rest. Okay, so from here, go straight into the ankle prep work. So remember, okay, from the last couple of weeks, we're simply gonna just load the outside edges of our feet. Now, today we're gonna just do one set, and I'm gonna go straight into the two options. So normally, what we have done is we kind of just use the other leg to support ourselves, okay? Roll onto the outside edges of the feet, and then to the other side. And then the second set, normally, you know, we start to kind of test that out a little bit in terms of just on the spot, looking to march on the outside edges of the feet. Now, if balance is a massive issue, you can always just use the wall ever so slightly, okay? But that, you know, we want to make sure we're actually using our own structures, okay? So our own strength as well. Now, choose the right option, okay? So don't kind of, you know, there's no point trying to lift the leg up if you're just going to roll and not be able to kind of sustain it for good 1 to 2 seconds, okay? So you can either roll, supporting from the other leg, and then roll, so you have to take your hip outside, or we can, boom, same thing, we can look to roll and hold, okay? And then plant and hold, okay? So let's go straight into it. And effectively what we're going to do here, just kind of go for 30 seconds, nothing too crazy, okay? So not too long on this, okay? But you're going to look to kind of hold it for anywhere between 1 to 3 seconds, okay? Obviously your legs are straight, okay? Slow and controlled. You don't need to do this one-legged balance variation. You can simply just roll to the side and hold it for 1 to 3 seconds as well, guys, okay? So effectively what we're trying to do here is show the underside of our feet as much as possible, okay, by being on the outside edges of our feet. Last one. And a rest. Okay, so from here, we're going to go and look at the inside edges of our feet. Okay, so we're going to allow ourselves to load the inside of our legs. Okay, but when we roll our ankles in, you will see, look, what my knees will do. My knees will track in as well. Now, as my knees track in, my hips will also come into this internal rotation. So really, this is not just about the inside of the feet, but also a little bit of the knee and the hips as well. Okay, now for that reason, what we're going to do is, okay, work into your capacity. And the rule of thumb is, okay, we're going to have the feet as wide as we need it to be. So that way we can, you know, touch the thighs together. Now, if this is comfortable, that's when you can opt in to go a tad wider. That way you can work to increase that range. Okay, but there's no point just starting wide and not being able to hit it. Okay, because it may be a little bit too much force going through these areas, right? So again, the notion is gradually build as opposed to try set up PB from the word go. Okay, so here we go. Nice and simple. Okay, push it up. We're not hinging at the hips. We're going to allow ourselves to drive down to the inside edges of our feet and then boom, up. Okay, so I like to have my hands in front of me. That way kind of I can sort of tell whether my spine is still nice and tall or vertical. Okay, that way the focus is on just the lower body. Okay, and again, the intent here is to see the underside of your feet by being on the inside edges of your feet. Again, don't be scared to kind of hold the bottom position for a second or two. Okay, just so you can feel that, okay, tension and spend quality time there. Two more. Okay. And from here, what we're going to get into is very, very nice and simple. Okay, we're going to get into calf work. Now, with the calf work, what we have been doing, guys, has been, remember, heels up, and predominantly we're staying in the big balls of our feet. Now, often what tends to happen is people tend to sickle out, which is effectively saying, we kind of roll out to the, outer balls of our feet, right? So your job is to think about lowering the big toe and the index toe balls of your feet. So the heels are not really flicked out, rather they are boom, okay? So from the back view, okay, often what tends to happen is this, the heels are flicking out because we're rolling out. You wanna make sure you are rolling and staying in the big ball movements of your feet, okay? Now, the challenge is this, we've been working on straight-legged calf raises. We're gonna go into bent leg calf raises. And this is what it will look like. So I'm going to use a wall, okay, to support me, to guide me. So obviously imagine the wall is here. So I'm just gonna hold on to the wall like this just to show you what needs to happen from a side view, but you will eventually, just face the wall, okay? So what we need to see happen is this. With straight-legged calf raises, knees will be locked out and we tend to kind of go up and down, pretty straightforward. With bent knee, what I need you to kind of do is we're gonna have the wall or the guide in front of us. You're gonna keep the heels on the ground. You're gonna drive your knees far forward as possible, okay? Now, as you drive your knees far forward, look, the heels are still onto the ground. They're not kind of lifting off just yet, okay? So you're gonna find that position first, tuck your bum, and then with your hands on the wall, look at my shoulders, hips and knees. As you come up, the whole body comes up in that bent knee position. Now your job is, okay, this is your home. Your job is to kiss the ground with the heels and then come up with that bent knee locked in that position, okay? So it's not, look at this, it's not this where the knees are coming forwards and backwards, okay? You are staying in this position and the whole structure above, okay, the knees are moving with you as well. We're gonna go into 25 reps, okay? So if we're good, get into the position, feet are give or take under the hips, if not closer, drive your knees forward, tuck the bum, bring the heels up, and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. From here, again, bum is on the wall, feet are give or take, okay, in line with the hips. From there, further the leg away from the wall, the harder it is, so be mindful, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna lean over, we're gonna just place our hands on top of our thighs, then we're gonna curl the toes up as if you're going to hit the roof of your shoes with your toes, and then pick your ankles up as high as possible. So you're just on the heels, okay? From here, again, we're not gonna touch the pinky side, but rather the big balls of your feet onto the ground, okay? 25 reps, we're gonna kiss, okay, the ground and then come back up. Here we go, and kiss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, keep pulling them up, and down, rest. Okay, so that's your front of your shin, okay, so your antips, and then obviously we look at the back of your, okay, shins as well, okay, so your calves. So, giving that downstairs a little bit of rest, now let's grab our towel, that way we can get into the shoulders a little bit, okay? So we're going to continue with the shoulder dislocations and the inlocations, okay? So reminder that dislocation starts in front of us and the inlocation starts behind us, okay? So just using the towel and just again, a reminder that, you know, start easy. And in this case, wider the hands, the easier it is because there's more space to come through, okay? The closer the hands that gets overhead, the harder it gets, okay? So just nice and simple. What we're going to do here, think back to that shoulder girdle work that we did at the start, that 4 landmark that we had. So we had the protraction, elevation, retraction, and then depression, right? Effectively, you're going to be hitting those positions with straight arms, okay? To choose a distance, that's going to be, okay, good for you, okay? Meaning there should be no pinching, no pain in the shoulders. Keeping the rib cage down. So again, you're not looking to flare the rib cage out or arch through the lower back. All we're going to do is this. We're going to start with depression, so reaching down. We're going to protract, elevate, retract, then depress. Okay, retract, elevate, protract, and boom. So at all times, we're creating space in the shoulder joint. Okay, so again, we should have plenty of room to move at the shoulder joint, keeping those elbows locked. Okay, so again, start wide, make it super easy, super simple. Okay, just greasing the joints. And as you do feel good, okay, and you start to build trust, that's your cue to then ever so slightly, and when I say ever so slightly, just a couple of millimeters in, and then repeat that process again. And you will notice, okay, that changes the context. Okay, so again, be mindful. This is not about setting PBs. Okay. Notice the quality in the shoulder. Okay, your whole shoulder girdle has to accommodate this move. Again, without flaring the rib cage up or arching to the lower back. Okay, and if you're just kind of whipping it in and out, that means, okay, cool, it's warm. Okay, that's obviously that range of motion is accessible to you. So you want to be working at a range or the hand distance where there's a slight challenge, but it's obviously doable, right? So effectively, you shouldn't be just going kamikaze and backwards and forwards kind of thing. There's a little bit of attention to, okay, cool, I actually need to work a little bit through one particular area or couple. Okay, nice and simple. Last one. Okay, from here, we're going to do the same thing effectively, but this time, okay, slightly different. We're going to start with the towel back behind us. Okay, the same rules apply, hand distance, the shoulder girdle trying to do its thing. However, okay, the palms are going to be facing forward this time. Okay, so here, what's going to happen is same thing. I'm going to start depressed. Okay, I'm going to retract, elevate, and come through. Now you'll notice, okay, my palms will face out, meaning my shoulders are in this internal rotation position. So be mindful. This is slightly different. Okay, so be careful. Start nice and simple, and then again, make it hard as you need to. Okay, slow control. So now we're just working the shoulder joint in a slightly different position. The shoulder girdle is pretty much doing the same thing. So again, no pinching sensation, no pain. And if you're looking at the screen, okay, if you can see the silhouette of yourself, you should be able to see, hopefully we're coming, nice and even. So there's a little bit of balance, in terms of how the shoulders are moving, or the arms in this case, sorry. Okay, so we're not, leaning to one side or bending one elbows and doing something funky essentially. Okay, last couple of reps, nothing too crazy. Okay, towels down. Okay, so from here, guys, we're going to go into our pigeon work. So if you need a drink of water, please have a drink of water. Okay, but if you're good, we're going to go onto the ground. I'm going to get to some pigeon work. Okay, so effectively, pigeon is to get into our backside, right? So we know external rotators of the hips. Now, a couple of things we want to just bring to attention today. Okay, so as a reminder, as we are setting up, okay, if this is inaccessible, okay, you can just sit in a 90-90 like this, where your front knee is 90 degrees, and we can just hinge forward. And you're going to feel that pull through the butt, which is awesome, okay, the front butt, that is. Pigeon is going to be throwing that, okay, hip across, okay, and effectively being in this position, okay. We start to kind of, normally when we rest, laces are down, we stay in this position. We've been working the active variation, which is effectively going up and down. Okay, so with the back knee off, remember the spine, we've been using the spine as a load, okay, as a variable. Okay, but today what we're going to do is slightly different variation. So this is a modified pigeon. And for this, what's going to happen is we're going to be, okay, in this sort of kind of runner's lunge position, okay, where we're going to have the hands on the outside, okay, of our feet. Okay, so from side view, it's better to start with one knee up, one knee down, have your hands placed slightly in front and outside the front leg. Then we're going to pop the back knee off. Okay, and as always, my butt on the back leg is being, okay, straightened, okay, or my butt's lifting up, so that way I know I'm powerful through the glutes. From the front view, okay, again, I need to be strong through my shoulders. So again, if this is inaccessible, maybe kind of bring the ground up, maybe a couple of yoga blocks or something. But otherwise, what we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to allow the front knee to flare out onto the outside edges of the feet as I sink down with the hips. And then boom, popping up for one. Okay, so from side view, let me just show you. Okay, so as my front leg flares out, I'm also going to look to get heavy through my hips. Boom. And then back up. Okay, so let's do 10 of these with a 10-second hold on the last rep. Okay, so if everybody's ready, boom, position and up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here we go. Get heavy with the hips, get the back leg straight. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up, back knee down, and then rest as you need to. Okay. So staying up on the other side, same thing. We're going to start with one knee up, one knee down. Hands stay in front slightly, but on the outside of our feet. We're going to pop the back knee off. Okay. Lift the butt up. Back leg is straight. And then here we go. We're going to drop that front knee to the ground as much as possible. Get heavy from the hips and come up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we go. Getting heavy, we're proud. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And back me down and rest. Okay. Hopefully everybody's okay. All right. So we'll come back and revisit that again for the hips. It's quite dynamic. So it's not just the tissues, it's actually the joint we're looking at as well in that particular variation. Okay. Slightly different to what we have it in over the last couple of weeks, which is same thing, pigeon, but slightly different intention, right? So we'll be getting into more tissues. From here, we'll go straight into, okay, our tabletop. And the tabletop that we're going to do is a little more compromised variation. Okay, so, we've done 2 different variations over the last couple of weeks, which is the fingers pointed back initially for 30 seconds, and then the fingers facing forward. What we're going to do here, guys, is today we're going to just focus on the fingers facing forward, which is effectively going to, this orientation of hand is going to mean your shoulders are in this internal rotation, which is a position that we normally don't spend much time in, okay, and are quite weak in, to be fair, okay. So again, be mindful. This is not to set a PB. You got 2 options, okay. You can either have your knees bent, and we're going to simply just raise the hips up as opposed to the tummy, okay. But notice as you come up, make sure you're not dumping into your hands and shoulders by coming backwards. If anything, come towards your legs. Okay, so press away and come forward. That's the first variation. Okay, the second is effectively the same thing, but with legs straight. So this way you can walk forwards, toes are pointed, butts on, okay, chest is lifted to the ceiling. Throughout this, think about squeezing your shoulder blades together. Okay, so choose a variation that you can do. We're gonna go 30 seconds, have a little pause, and do the same thing again for 30 seconds. Okay, so if everybody is good to go, we shall go in 6, 5, 4, 3, hips are up, and let's go. Okay, so lifting out of the shoulders, butt is coming up to the ceiling, not just your tummy. Legs are firm, keep the weight on your legs, so weight is distributed nice and evenly. Maybe bias the legs even more if you're feeling this to the elbows or the shoulders. Keep lifting that chest up and through the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. Okay, we'll have a quick rest. Okay, shake it up if you need to. We'll do that just one more time, guys, again. Okay, and again, be willing to kind of make those small refinements. Okay, there's a certain skill when it comes to kind of stretching low in the body. Okay, and these isometrics should allow you the space to do that. Meaning, it should not be about surviving for 30 seconds, right? And thinking, fuck, I can't hold this. Okay, so think about how can you slightly orient your body in a certain way that you can sustain the work. Here we go, fingers pointed forward. We'll go in 5, 4, 3, 2, hips are up, and let's go. Keep pushing the world away. Ease are nowhere near the shoulders. Glutes are on. Okay, legs are loaded more. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down, and rest. Okay, so from here, we'll go into that modified pigeon work again. So modified active pigeon. So remember, one knee up, one knee down. Okay, so I'm gonna do it from front view this time. Hands are gonna be placed slightly in front, however, on the outside, okay, of the feet. We'll pop the back knee off, looking to lock the knees and lift the legs up. From here, I like to be on the outside, slightly on the outside edge in the front leg, okay? From here we go. We're gonna flare the knees or drop the knees to the ground and get heavy from the hips and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up, back knee down, boom. Okay, we'll go to the other side. Same thing, one knee up, one knee down. Hands slightly in front, but on the outside edges. We'll pop the back knee off. We'll come slightly onto the outside edge of our feet in the front. Posture proud, butt proud. Okay, so glutes are on. And here we go. We're going to drop the front knee to the ground. Again, be heavy with the hips of the middle. Come up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
one, up, back and down, and boom. Okay, so from here, nice and simple, nothing too crazy. We'll just quickly go into the shoulders and just kind of still work in shoulder extension, just one set. However, we're going to need that towel again. Okay, so here, what we're going to do, guys, is that seated towel extension. So the towel is going to be back behind us. Okay, and shoulder extension, just to give you a picture, is effectively us taking our hands back behind us. Now, as we do this, our job here is to make sure that we're not obviously, allowing the shoulder to come up and roll. There should be nothing through this space here, right? Okay. The other thing is we're not, again, flaring our ribs or arching our back to try and get that height. So your job is to keep the spine vertical as possible, locked in this position. And everything we're doing here is coming to the back or in the middle of the shoulders, okay? Remember, the wider the hands, the slightly easier it is. So just maybe kind of, from front view, think about the shoulder width, right? So maybe kind of it's, just narrower than shoulder width, if not in line with the shoulders. If you go really tight shoulders, that's when you can slightly just go outside the shoulders, which is going to help you with the height, okay? But what we're going to do here, sitting in this nice low position. And again, if this is not accessible to you, just sit in a high knee position, okay? What we're going to do here, guys, palms are faced forward, okay? We're going to come down with the shoulder girdle first, okay? So shoulders are nowhere near the ears. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades as we lift up, palms facing down to the ground. And we're going to hold that position for 5 seconds, for 5 reps. Okay, here we go. So shoulder girdle, okay? Down, squeezing up, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Down, squeezing up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. Rest. Shoulder girdle down, squeeze and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 3. Shoulder girdle down, squeeze, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 4. Down. Here we go. Shoulder girdle down into the pockets, squeeze and lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, and rest. Beautiful. All right. Quick drink of water, guys. Okay. Let me just take my jumper off. All right. So from here, let's get a little bit busy. Okay. So we'll continue with our middle split type of work. Okay. And the pancake type of work. So last couple of weeks, we've been focusing on the straddle compression work. Remember the 3-part, okay? We're gonna continue with that today as well, okay? However, the active middle split variation that we've been doing has been more of a, if I remind you, legs are wide, we hinge at the hips, we find the ground or a couch, sofa, whatever you've got, okay? We tend to touch the elbows, maybe even the head. Then we posture up, nice and tall, and boom, finish here, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna just change that up ever so slightly, okay? So again, we're just gonna do 5 reps, and it's probably better to have again, let's kind of use a towel. So I think having something tangible is gonna help you, okay? And what we're gonna do here with the towel is we're going to look to get the shoulders involved as well, okay? So rather than just kind of, just using our hands, what basically the towel will allow you to do is give you a little bit more tactile, okay? It'll give you more tactile feedback, okay? So what we're gonna do here is with the hands, again, maybe just about shoulder width apart, okay? So again, if you're really tight, then, maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. But what we're gonna do is, okay, we're gonna heel toe out. You should be already warm, so you should be able to kind of, be fairly wide, and this is what's gonna happen. So rather than touching and resting on the ground, our active middle split, we're going to just do 5 reps with a 3-second pause, and we're going to effectively shoot our hips back. As we do that, our arms come as high as possible. Our job is to try to keep the hands above the ears, okay? Pause for 3, and then boom, drive the hips through and the hands down, Okay, so effectively what we're doing is we're lengthening that torso, okay, from side view, okay, boom. We want to get that coordination and timing right. So it's, you know, kind of hands and shoulders at the same time, as opposed to do this and then try to find that position. The only thing I'm going to say with this is when you are coming up with your hands, be mindful you're not just tucking your chin in and you're not just feeling in the traps. You're still keeping the neck nice and long. So it helps to have your eyes, okay, in onto the ground, but in front of you slightly, as opposed to trying to look through your legs. Okay, here we go. We'll go for 5 reps. We'll figure this out as we go along. Okay, legs are firm, obviously locked out. Pushing to the outside edges of the feet. Then 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Hinge. Pause for 3, 2, 1. Hinge. 3, 2, 2. Hinge. 3, 2, 3. Hinge. 3, 2, 4. Hinge. 3, 2, 5. And rest. Okay, exit strategy is up to you. Now, from here, we're going to be onto the ground. Same thing with wide legs still, okay? And what we're going to make sure here is, again, it's not a PB, right? So it's not a case of like, I'm going to see how wide can I get, okay? So maybe just stay 2 steps behind what you think is your max range, okay? That's a good place to start. What you will find eventually is you may need to even close the legs a little bit when we come to doing the strength component to this, okay? So for now, what we're going to do is legs wide, about 2 steps, okay, behind what you think you should be doing. And then we're going to have elbow to elbow contact, okay? We're going to be reaching forward, okay, to get ourselves into this pancake position, then back up. Now, I'll say this again, a reminder, you know, if sitting on the ground is hard and, you know, you can't really move at the hips, then it's far better to have something under your hips, effectively elevating your hips up off the ground. That way you can hinge at the hips, okay? That's how this is going to be more potent, okay? If you're struggling to sit on the ground already and you move at the lower back, we get nothing out of this, okay? So make the right decision. Otherwise, we're going to go 10 hinges at the hips. From there, we'll have the hands in front of us, okay? Preferably with the palms flat on the ground, toes will be pointed, and then we're going to lift our legs for 10 reps at the hip joint, not at the knee, okay? So you're looking to lift the whole hamstring off the ground, and then we're going to hold the last one for 10 seconds. So it's 10 hinges, 10 leg lifts, 10-second hold. I'll guide you through it, okay? You just follow. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of cramping, okay? Here we go. Elbow to elbow, and hinge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hands, toes pointed, and let's lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good job. Okay, so from here, we're going to go into the middle split again with the hands, okay, coming up. Okay, let's do that. Now, as you do this, okay, in a 3-second pause for 5 reps, your job is to make sure you are really trying to lift your hands up as far, okay, up to the ceiling as possible while you're punching. Okay, so the hands are elevating, so we are reaching and lifting back, okay, as opposed to just, you know, shrugging, okay. Here we go. Position. And hinge. 3, 2, 1. Hinge. 3, 2, 2. Hinge. 3, 2, 3. Hinge. 3, 2, 4. Hinge. 3, 2, 5. And rest. Okay. From here, sitting onto the ground. Okay. We'll go straight into our hinges, lifts, and hold. Okay. So again, choosing the right place. With these hinges, guys, again, making sure that you are under control. Okay, that you're actually hinging at the hips, which effectively means you will feel that pull through the legs, as opposed to feeling it up and down your spine. Okay, that's a big no-no. Here we go. And hinge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hands on the ground, toes are pointed. We're going 2, 1, lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here we go. 10 and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Lift. 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Woo, woo. Okay. Good job, people. Okay, so quick drink of water. Then we'll make our way down to our hamstrings. Okay, so what we're going to do here, guys, okay, is I would love to kind of see a super couch setup. Okay, so effectively, what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the hamstrings a little bit by addressing the front of our hips, but we're also going to look at the front of the hips, stretching it wide. Okay, so I'm going to use a little box. Okay, you can use a couch, a wall, okay, whatever you have convenient at home. Okay, and if you're working on a hard floor, remember something underneath your knees is going to be pleasant. Okay. So from here, what I want to see happen, actually, let me kind of face a little bit 45. That way I can sort of kind of see you guys. Okay. And the version that we're going to play with today is more around the hip extension. Okay. So rather than the kind of the belly, the quads, you know, preferably the one that we do with pushing our hips back to the heel, we're going to do the opposite of that today. Okay. Let me go on this side. So again, knees are as close as possible. Okay. But as you come through, if you're having to arch your back, then that's a little bit too much. Okay. So you either have to stay forward or we take the knees slightly away from the wall, couch, box, whatever you're working with today. Okay. So if everybody's good, we should be able to come in this position here. And no one should really be struggling with balance. Okay. Because the butt should be on somewhat. From here, we're going to drive the hips forward as we know, but in order for that hips to come forward, the front leg needs to be adequately in front of us, okay? That way, we're bridging this gap, okay? We've got this stability that's been provided with the front leg. We've got the glutes in the middle here that's keeping us, okay, nice and stable. And obviously, we were anchored at the back, okay? So these 3 points is really important. From here, we're going to just drive the hips forward using our butt. And on the back leg side, you're going to simply just raise your hands. And then with that spare hand, the front leg hand, you're just going to grab the wrist and you're going to pull. Okay, so I'm stretching my right side. So my right hand comes up. I'm going to use my left hand, grab my right wrist, lift my right arm, and then lean slightly. Okay, now this lean, okay, is happening from the shoulder as opposed to the lower back. So no one, again, should feel anything from the lower back region. Hips are still facing forward. You're using your butt to drive forward and you're pulling and leaning slightly to the side. Again, using your butt to keep driving you forward. Your arms being lifted up. Think about pushing that chest forward, okay, without really trying to arch your back. Push chest forward, but keep the rib cage down. Last 10. Make sure you're nice and square, glutes are still firm. And slowly back it up. And time. Okay. So with these kind of work, guys, again, okay, don't go so hard that you can't make these adjustments. Gradually build, okay? So here we go. We're gonna go to the other side, same things, okay? So we're gonna start with our knees as close as possible, okay? We're gonna posture up. We're going to make sure that front leg is providing us with that little stability. Glutes are working in the middle where I can then drive my hips forward without arching my lower back. So I'm nice and stable here already, okay? And the stretch has already started. Now from here, the stretching side, okay, the back leg side, I'm gonna lift my leg up. So for me, it's the left side being stretched, so my left hand is up. I'm gonna use my right hand to grab my left wrist. And then I'm not gonna just pull over to the side. I'm actually gonna lift myself up a little bit higher. So I'm gonna use my right hand to lift my left and then just ever so slight lean. As I do this lean, I'm still looking to push my chest forward, but not arching my lower back, okay? So pushing your chest forward is more of this motion here, and then rib cage is down, okay? My butt's working in the back to drive my hips forward throughout this hold. Do not sacrifice the hip for the lean, okay? The hips are the priority. What that means is, even if you just look to lift your arms, that will be plenty. You may not actually need to do a side bend. If you're opting in for the side bend, again, if you feel it's in the opposite hip or the lower back, that means the hips are no longer working as much as we want to. So back it off a little bit. Okay, and if this all feels just too confusing, don't even raise your hands. Okay, just work with vertical spine and driving your hips forward. So choose the right thing for you. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly back it off, hands down, and rest. Okay. So last thing we're gonna do today, guys, okay, is just looking at the hamstrings, a little bit back of the legs, okay, and very, very simple move to finish on. We're gonna just do this for 1 minute and then we're done, okay? So this is effectively standing on our feet. We're gonna go into our ostrich walk, okay? So, or a modified ostrich walk. What we're gonna actually do here, guys, is we're gonna have the legs fairly straight, okay? And locked out, okay? This is really critical. And then we're going to simply just tuck our chin in. We're gonna roll forward, okay? So from side view. Now, some of us will be able to touch the ground pretty comfortably. That's okay. We can start to reach back behind us. Maybe we can also reach the back of the hands onto the ground. Some of us may be here, and that's okay as well, all right? So effectively what we're gonna do is, okay, low amplitude, okay? So we're gonna just kind of go into pulses. And this is what it's gonna look like. We're gonna simply go into, okay? So again, the tension could be anywhere along the back of your body, depending on where you're at. Obviously, we don't want to be in pain. What I'm going to say to you is relax your head, let the head become that weight, okay? So relax the neck, relax the head, relax the shoulders, and just allow that body to pulse, okay? 1 minute, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. If you're touching the ground pretty comfortably, you can reach your hand back and wide.
trying to touch the, palms flat on the ground. Again, so effectively you're setting yourself a bigger target. If you're nowhere near the ground, that's okay as well. Okay, just keep the spine as soft as possible. And again, just gentle pulses. Make sure your quads are firm, so maybe squeeze your thighs. Keep going.
Keep it going. Slowly finishing it up. Okay, and slowly rising. Come on over. Let's have a quick chat. How you guys feeling? How you guys doing? We alive?
Live.